So often we expect love, or even attraction to be loud, to be unmistakable. We think it'll announce itself with grand gestures, fiery declarations, or obvious signals, but real feelings, they whisper. They come through in sideways glances, subtle gestures, and moments of nervous laughter. If a woman has a crush on you, she might not say it outright, but you'll feel it in the way she lights up around you. In the way she shows up in your world with just a bit more care, a bit more presence. In the way her attention lingers when no one else is watching. It's in the details, the way she remembers what you said, the way she teases you like it's a game only the two of you understand, the way her energy shifts when you walk in, and yes, especially in her eyes. You don't need to overthink or decode every move, just notice, be present, be honest, because attraction at its core isn't a game, it's a recognition, one soul quietly noticing another and saying, there's something about you. And once you learn to see those subtle signs, you'll never again miss when someone's heart is trying to reach you softly, silently, but powerfully. You know, most of us walk through life listening to people's words, believing that what someone says is the best indicator of how they feel. But the truth is, our words often protect us. They mask, they filter, they present only what we think we're supposed to say. Our eyes betray us in the most beautiful way. They speak our hidden truths even when we're trying to stay silent. When a woman has a crush on you, she may not walk up and blurt it out. She may not text it. She may not even let it show in her tone. But her eyes will tell the story she's too scared to voice. There's a certain look, one you've probably seen before but maybe didn't quite recognize for what it was. It's soft, lingering, just a beat too long to be casual. You catch her glancing at you from across the room, and in the second your eyes meet, she looks away, fast, almost too fast. And yet there was something undeniable in that moment. That wasn't just a passing glance, that was interest. Raw, unfiltered human interest. Sometimes it's more than a single glance, it's a series of them. You'll notice she keeps looking your way. You'll be talking to someone else, and in your peripheral vision, she's watching. Not in a creepy way, not even intentionally. She probably doesn't even realize she's doing it. But the energy is there. A woman who has a crush becomes naturally curious. Her eyes are drawn to you, not by strategy, but by instinct. Now here's where it gets even more interesting. Because once you do make eye contact, something happens. There's a shift. It's like you just caught her in a secret. She might smile nervously, tuck her hair behind her ear, or suddenly pretend to look at something else. That's not rejection. That's vulnerability. That's her heart saying, I didn't mean for you to see that, but now that you have, what are you going to do with it? And it doesn't stop there. When you're actually talking to her, really connecting in conversation, watch her eyes. Are they darting around, distracted, looking past you, or are they focused, steady, like she's soaking in every word you say? If she's got a crush, you'll notice something magical. She's not just listening, she's studying you. The way your mouth moves when you talk, the little quirks in your expressions, the way your eyes light up when you're passionate about something, and most of all, the emotional undertone of what you're saying. She's not just hearing your words, she's trying to understand who you are. There's also that flicker of nervousness. She might break eye contact more often than usual, or she might lock eyes with you and hold it, almost like a challenge, until you're the one who looks away. Why? Because she's hoping you see her, not just as someone standing in front of you, but as someone who's silently choosing you with every unspoken glance. And this is where many people miss it, because these moments, they're small, they're subtle, they're easy to overlook if you're not paying attention, but if you slow down, if you stop trying to interpret every text message or decode every emoji and just notice what's happening in front of you, her eyes will tell you everything. Crushes are delicate things. They aren't always loud or obvious. They're quiet, tender, sometimes afraid, especially if she's unsure how you feel. But if you learn to read the room, to see the little shifts in her energy when you walk in, to recognize the sparkle in her eyes when she looks at you like she's seeing something rare, you'll realize what's right in front of you. So the next time you wonder if she's into you, don't ask her, don't overanalyze her words, don't wait for her to make the first move. Watch her eyes, because when a woman has a crush, her eyes become the bridge between her guarded mind and her open heart. And if you meet her halfway, you reflect the same kind of warmth, curiosity, and connection. She just might find the courage to let those eyes turn into something more. When someone remembers what you said weeks ago, things you barely even remember saying yourself, it's not just because they have a great memory. It's because they were truly listening, not listening to respond, not listening to be polite, but listening with the kind of presence that comes from real interest. And when a woman has a crush on you, this is exactly the kind of subtle sign that slips through, quiet but powerful. She doesn't need to announce that she's into you. Instead, she shows it in a way that often goes unnoticed, by holding on to the fragments of you that most people forget. That time you casually mentioned your favorite childhood candy. She remembers the name of your dog from 10 years ago. She brings it up in conversation, laughing like it's an inside joke. The fact that you said your mom loves sunflowers, she references it out of nowhere. And you're left wondering, how did she even remember that? It's because when a woman is emotionally drawn to someone, she mentally collects pieces of them, not because she's trying to impress you, not because she's keeping score, but because you matter. When you matter to someone, even just a little, their brain stops filing your words as background noise. You become significant, your voice becomes a part of their inner world. That's what most men miss. They're looking for obvious clues, flirting, compliments, physical touch, but the deepest sign often sits in the quiet attentiveness of someone who genuinely wants to know you, and not just the surface version of you, the real you. What drives you, what makes you smile, what hurt you in the past, what you're afraid to admit, and this kind of listening, it doesn't happen by accident. She's remembering these things because you've already made an emotional imprint on her. You matter enough that her subconscious is paying attention, so even if she's not bold enough to make a move, her emotional curiosity is still alive. She wants to know what shaped you, what makes you tick, what makes you feel safe, and you'll notice this in the way she circles back to your stories. Maybe you talked about a challenge at work once, and weeks later she asks, "Hey, how did that project turn out?" You didn't even remember bringing it up. Or you mentioned in passing that you were nervous about an upcoming trip, and she checks in after you return, not in a generic way, but with specific questions. That's not casual, that's connection. You see, when someone is just being polite, they nod and smile and let your words pass like air. But when someone has a crush, especially a woman who's quietly catching feelings, your words stick. They live rent-free in her memory. She replays your conversations. She notices your mood shifts. She picks up on what others ignore. Even the way she brings things up feels intentional. It's not just what she remembers. It's when she chooses to remember it. She'll drop those details into conversations to gently remind you, "I see you, I hear you, I remember you." Not in a needy or performative way, but in a soft, intuitive rhythm. It's her way of offering you emotional safety, of showing you that being around her means being known. And that's a kind of intimacy we don't talk about enough. Because ultimately, everyone wants to feel seen, understood, valued. And when a woman begins to remember your essence, not just your words, that's the real giveaway. So how do you respond to this? You meet her there. You remember her details too, you listen more closely, you stop treating her as a mystery to solve or a puzzle to decode, and instead start appreciating her for the way she listens, for the way she shows up, for the small moments that reveal her care, because when she remembers your small details, she's not just cataloging information, she's quietly building a bridge from her heart to yours, one memory at a time. And if you walk across it, you might just find that the connection you've been searching for has been waiting patiently, memorizing you in silence. When a woman has a crush on you, she doesn't always come right out and say it. In fact, most of the time she won't, not because she doesn't feel it deeply, but because she's afraid of what it might mean if you don't feel the same. So what does she do instead? She creates moments. Little, subtle, seemingly casual excuses to be near you, to be in your space, to orbit your energy without drawing too much attention to herself. Maybe she volunteers for the same project at work. Maybe she shows up to the same coffee shop you mentioned liking. Maybe she lingers after group events just long enough that you both end up walking out together. It never looks obvious. It never screams, "I'm trying to get close to you." That's the whole point. It's not supposed to look like anything. But it's something. It's her way of being near you in a world where she's still figuring out if it's safe to be fully seen, because proximity is powerful. Think about it. We don't gravitate toward people who make us feel uncomfortable or indifferent. We seek closeness with those who stir something inside us. And when she subtly inserts herself into your environment again and again, it's a sign. A very quiet, very intentional sign that she wants to feel more connected to you. And it's not always physical space, it's digital space too. She might reply to your stories, send you reels or memes that somehow remind her of you. She'll comment on your posts, laugh at things you say, or ask questions that feel slightly more personal than casual. Why? Because she's trying to stay on your radar. She's finding low pressure ways to stay in your world, hoping you'll meet her there. But here's the key. It's not about convenience. It's about consistency. You'll notice she finds reasons to be where you are, even when she doesn't have to be. That's not a coincidence. That's intention in disguise. That's her heart tugging her closer while her mind keeps things casual. And it often goes deeper than just being in the same space. She'll find ways to create shared experiences, like asking for your opinion on something she probably already knows the answer to, or needing help with something she could easily Google. She's not trying to manipulate you, she's trying to connect. She wants a reason to interact without the fear of rejection that comes with directly confessing her feelings, and you might notice that when she does spend time with you, she's fully present, she's engaged. She laughs at your jokes, genuinely, not out of politeness. She listens when you talk, and not just to reply, but to really hear you. She doesn't check her phone every 5 minutes. She's not half in, half out. She's there because part of her is hoping you'll start to see what she's feeling but hasn't said. But let's be honest, this is where a lot of guys miss the signs because they're waiting for bold declarations, for something unmistakable. They don't realize that her staying 5 extra minutes after everyone else leaves, her casually running into you again and again, her playfully teasing you in the hallway, those are the moments that reveal the most. The real question is, are you paying attention? Because when a woman goes out of her way to be near you, it means she sees something in you, something worth exploring, something that feels different. She might not be able to put it into words yet, but her actions are already speaking. And if you feel that same pull, don't wait for a green light spelled out in neon letters. Meet her halfway, start a conversation. Create space for more shared time. Let her know in your own way that her presence hasn't gone unnoticed, and that you'd like her to keep showing up. Because sometimes love doesn't start with fireworks or declarations. Sometimes it starts with a quiet decision to just be near each other again and again, until being near turns into being close, and being close turns into something real. So if she keeps finding excuses to be around you, she's not just around, she's reaching. She's hoping, and maybe, just maybe, she's waiting for you to reach back. There's something unmistakable about presence. You can feel it the second you walk into a room. The atmosphere changes, the mood shifts, the energy realigns. And when a woman has a crush on you, her energy shifts the moment you enter her space, even if she's doing everything in her power to play it cool. This isn't about what she says. It's about how her entire demeanor subtly, but undeniably, transforms in your presence. Before you arrived, she might have been relaxed, chatting freely, laughing with friends, but the second she sees you, there's a noticeable flicker. Maybe it's a pause, a breath, a brief change in posture. You just being there recalibrates her nervous system, and whether she wants to or not, it shows. And the thing is, she doesn't always want it to show, especially if she's trying to keep her feelings under wraps. But attraction has a way of slipping through the cracks, and it shows up in moments she didn't rehearse. Maybe her voice gets a little softer when she talks to you. Maybe she becomes a little more animated, her hands moving, her eyes lighting up. Or the opposite. Maybe she gets quieter, a little more reserved, like she's suddenly hyper, aware of every word she's saying. What you're noticing in those moments is not awkwardness, it's emotional charge. A heightened sense of presence. You affect her, even if she's trying to hide it, and there's something incredibly beautiful about that, because most of us spend so much of our lives feeling like we don't make an impact. We move through the world wondering if anyone really notices us. So when someone's entire energy subtly rearranges itself around us, it's powerful. It means you matter to her in a way that bypasses logic and lands straight in the body. Watch her body language. She might fidget more when you're near, tucking her hair behind her ear, straightening her clothes, adjusting her posture. Those tiny adjustments, that's her nervous system reacting to your presence. It's not calculated, it's instinct. You trigger something in her that makes her want to show up a little brighter, a little more fully. And then there's the way she mirrors your energy. You laugh, she laughs. You lean in, she leans in. You mention something you love, and suddenly she's curious about it too. It's not manipulation. It's not trying to win you over. It's alignment. When we're drawn to someone, our natural response is to sync up with them, to match their rhythm, and she's doing that with you, often without even realizing it. But here's the subtle difference between someone being polite and someone having a genuine crush, emotional presence. Politeness is predictable, it's safe, it doesn't shift when you enter the room, but attraction, that shifts everything. She might stumble on her words when you ask her a question. She might laugh more easily or blush when the focus turns to her. And sometimes she may even withdraw, not because she's disinterested, but because she's overwhelmed by how much she's feeling and doesn't know how to handle it. See, a crush is not just a surface-level preference, it's an internal stir. And her energy becomes the canvas it paints itself on. If you're paying attention, you'll see it in the way she carries herself when you're around. She may become more expressive, more vibrant, like she's hoping you'll notice her, but scared to try too hard. Or she may become shy, a little distant, like she's protecting her heart from exposure. Either way, the common thread is this: you alter her state, and let's be clear, this is not about playing games. It's not about keeping score or strategizing your next move. It's about awareness. It's about recognizing that someone is affected by your presence and responding with respect, clarity, and warmth. Because when a woman's energy shifts around you, it's not just chemistry, it's vulnerability. It's her emotional world rising to the surface, trying to communicate something without words. So pay attention to the way she lights up when you walk in, to the sudden change in her tone, her posture, her gaze. Don't dismiss it, don't ignore it. Instead, be curious, be present. Meet her with a grounded energy that invites her to feel safe enough to stop hiding what she feels. Because in a world where most people are numb and guarded, the way her energy shifts around you is a sign of something real. And real is rare. One of the most understated yet revealing signs a woman has a crush on you is how she expresses admiration. Without making it obvious, she won't always say, "I like you," or "You look handsome today." That would make her too vulnerable. Instead, what she'll often do is offer compliments that are wrapped in humor, hidden in sarcasm, or delivered so casually that you barely catch them. But if you listen closely, you'll hear it. She'll say things like, "Oh wow, look at you being all responsible today, when you show up on time." Or, "You think you're charming, don't you?" with a smile that lingers just a bit too long. Those aren't insults, they're playful acknowledgments. It's her way of putting a compliment out there without feeling like she's exposed. These disguised compliments often come with a tone, light, cheeky, but warm. It's her heart's way of trying to get a little closer to you while still keeping her guard intact. Because here's the truth, giving a direct compliment when you have a crush on someone feels risky. It feels like handing your heart over in a sentence. So instead, she adds a layer of protection, humor, irony, casual teasing, and here's what makes it even more subtle. Sometimes, she disguises the compliment not just in the tone, but in what she chooses to highlight. She'll compliment your shirt, but what she's really saying is, "I notice how you present yourself." She'll laugh and say, "I don't get how you always know the right thing to say." But what she's actually feeling is, "You make me feel understood, and that's rare." She'll tease, "Oh, you're one of those guys who thinks he's deep," but underneath the joke, she's drawn to your mind and wants to know more. Her compliments aren't always verbal either. Sometimes they come in the form of genuine curiosity. She asks questions no one else asks. She brings up something you once said and says, "That stuck with me." Even if she brushes it off quickly, that in itself is a compliment. You impressed her, you left a mark. What makes these moments powerful is not how loud they are, but how personal they feel. Because when someone doesn't compliment everyone, when someone holds back with most people, but then gives you a unique, thoughtful piece of praise, it hits different. It means something. It shows that she sees something in you that pulls her in, and she's just trying to find a safe way to say it. She might even test you with these disguised compliments. See how you respond. See if you pick up on it. Because a woman with a crush wants to know, can he handle my heart? Can he see through my defenses without pushing past them? And here's where most men miss it. They take her teasing at face value. They don't hear the warmth under the joke. They don't catch the hint behind the sarcasm, and they assume she's just being playful, just being funny. But she's not just being funny. She's flirting in a way that feels emotionally safe. She's reaching out just enough to let you know that she sees you, that she's impressed by you, that you matter to her in a way that goes beyond just surface-level banter. So if you notice her giving you compliments in disguise, acknowledging you in ways that are funny, clever, and just a little too specific to be random, lean in, respond with warmth, match her wit. Let her know you see what she's doing, not by calling her out on it, but by making her feel like she's not alone in her curiosity, that she's safe to say more, to feel more, to be more open with you. Because when someone is trying to compliment you without looking like they're complimenting you, that's not deception, that's protection. That's her heart hoping you'll recognize the signal and give her something back, something real, something safe, something that says, "You don't have to hide around me." And when that happens, that's when her disguised compliments start to fade. Because now she doesn't need to hide the way she feels anymore. She'll start to tell you directly, confidently, lovingly, but it all starts with the first playful jab, the first sideways compliment. The first moment she lets just a little of her admiration show. Don't miss that moment. It's where everything begins. We live in a world where people are often taught to play it cool, to hide their feelings, to never say too much, feel too much, or reveal too much. But real connection, it doesn't come with fireworks. It doesn't knock on your door screaming, "Here I am." More often than not, it whispers. It shows up in glances, in energy shifts, in quiet details that would go unnoticed by anyone who isn't paying attention. A woman who has a crush on you might never say it aloud, but she's showing you, in the way her eyes linger when you're not looking, in how she remembers things that matter to you, in how her entire presence subtly shifts when you walk in. She creates moments with you, finds ways to be near you, engages you with jokes that carry hidden meaning, and in all of that, she's giving you a choice. You see, attraction doesn't always announce itself clearly because it doesn't always feel safe to do so. Especially for someone who's still unsure of how you feel, so she hints, she hopes, she steps just close enough to be seen, but not close enough to be hurt. Your job isn't to guess every signal right. Your job is to pay attention, to become emotionally present enough to recognize when someone is trying to love you gently from a distance. And if you feel something too, if your heart stirs in her presence, then have the courage to meet her halfway. Respond to her eyes, reflect her care, match her energy, acknowledge what most people overlook, because the most meaningful relationships don't start with declarations, they start with recognition. That moment when two people finally admit what they've been quietly feeling all along. I see you. I feel this too, and once that's out in the open, everything changes.